After the Arab expansions in the 7th century, Arab raiders had terrorized the Mediterranean coast of Europe for several centuries. They captured several Mediterranean islands and used them as a base to attack coastal towns in Europe. During each raid, they plundered and pillaged everything they found, and tens of thousands of people, including girls who were taken as sex slaves, were abducted and sold into slavery. By the 9th century, the raids had escalated into full-scale invasions. In the 820s, the Aghlabids of North Africa began the conquest of Sicily, the largest island in the Mediterranean. In 842, Arab forces under the leadership of Muhammad Abul Abbas captured Messina, which is just 2 miles from mainland Italy. At the peak of Islamic expansions into Europe, Muslims controlled a portion of southern Italy and several Italian islands, such as Sicily and Sardinia. The Islamic dream of expansion into Europe was not limited to the outskirts of the continent, instead they had a strong desire to make incursions into the heart of Christendom, such as Rome and Constantinople. The Arab raid against Rome was a significant military event that took place in 846 AD. It was carried out by Muslim forces from North Africa and Andalusia. They were motivated by the desire for loot and also as a rehearsal for their future full-scale invasion. They had previously established a naval base on the island of Sicily, which they used as a staging ground for their raids on the Italian mainland. The Arab raid on Rome was well coordinated and well executed. The Muslim forces sailed up the Tiber River and approached the city from the south. They encountered little resistance and were able to disembark their troops and establish a beachhead in the city. Once on land, the Arab forces quickly seized control of the city's walls and established a foothold. They then proceeded to ransack the city, looting and plundering as they went. The city's populace was terrorized and people fled for their lives. Most of the terrified citizens fled to the Aurelian walls. The defense force was devastated in a massacre and the survivors were forced to retreat to the protection of the Aurelian walls. The Arab invaders then began to systematically pillage everything beyond the walls. In the past invasions by barbarians from the north, Rome's holy sites and churches were spared. However, this time, there were no such privileges. As the Arabs burned the churches and holy relics, they even sacked the basilicas of St. Peter's and St. Paul's. The Arab forces spent 3 days in the city, causing chaos and massive destruction. They looted the city's wealth, and took many of its citizens as captives. After 3 days, the Arab forces withdrew from the city and returned to their base in Sicily along with the loot. The raid had a profound impact on Rome and the wider world. It demonstrated the power and capabilities of the Arab forces and made it clear that they were a force to be reckoned with. The sack of Rome demonstrated the strength of the Muslim forces and their willingness to carry out bold and daring raids against Christendom. The raid also had a lasting impact on the city of Rome and its people, serving as a reminder of the vulnerability of even the greatest cities in the face of military invasion. The famous Leonine Wall surrounding the Vatican was built shortly after the siege, by Pope Leo IV to protect the Church of St. Peter from future Muslim attacks. In 849, there was a second attempt by the Arabs to siege Rome, but this time, they were defeated at the Battle of Ostia under the leadership of Pope Leo IV.